Tonight, the war of words between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto continues as the salvo enters a too familiar territory of resignation and threats of impeachment. Kenyatta says his deputy and anyone in the government who is not satisfied with the government should resign. His deputy insists he will not resign and that there is no contest between him and the president. Tonight on Pandit's Night, we make sense of the growing rift. Good evening, I'm Abu Bakr Abdullahi, but first, these are the stories making headlines tonight. Veteran politician Simeon Nyachae laid to rest at his home in Kisii after decorated eulogies by national leaders led by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Also tonight, Kenya loses another veteran politician. Garissa County Senator Yusuf Haji buried at Langata Cemetery hours after he died at Aga Khan Hospital. Plus, Kisii Deputy Governor Joash Maingi and South Mugirango MP Silvanus Osoro arrested under unclear circumstances during the funeral of Simeon Nyachae. And tonight we tell you the fears of hundreds of orphans in Wajir whose fathers were killed 36 years ago at the Wagala airstrip by government soldiers on a peace mission. Tonight of all nights, Mini Mbesa is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. To our top story, and former Garissa Senator and BBI Task Force co-chair Yusuf Haji was this evening buried at the Langata Muslim Cemetery in Nairobi. Haji passed on earlier today at the Aga Khan University Hospital where he was being treated after jetting back into the country last week. Mwangi Maina begins our broadcast tonight.
Leaders, relatives and friends trooped in at the home of former Garissa Senator Yusuf Haji to condole with the family after news of his demise broke out. Shortly before 4 p.m, the body of the late senator was driven to the Masjid Nur Mosque in South Sea, Nairobi, for evening prayers before he was interred at the Langata Cemetery. President Uhuru Kenyatta, who attended the burial, led the country in mourning a leader who gave himself to serve the country and its citizens, even in his sunset years.
Mzee Haji, mashauri yake haikuwa ya kitu chochote. Ni mashauri ya kutoka kwa roho, ya kutoka fikira zake, na ndipo nilikuwa na muamini vile nilimuamini. Miaka hiyo yote, hakuna chochote mwenyewe ameuliza chake, isipokuwa za wananchi ambao wanawakilisha na fikira zake za vile mwelekeo wa taifa letu watakikana kuendelea.
President Uhuru Kenyatta mourned Haji as a selfless and dedicated leader whom he says his entire life was dedicated to serving Kenyans in different capacities.
Lakini taifa la Kenya limepoteza kiongozi shujaa, kiongozi ambaye amesimamia haki za wananchi wa taifa hili letu la Kenya, kiongozi ambaye amefanya kazi ya wananchi karibu miaka yake yote mpaka dakika yake ya mwisho.
Yusuf Haji has passed on at a time when the country is sharply divided over the BBI Constitutional Amendment Bill, which he midwifed as a co-chair of the BBI Task Force Committee. He has been mentioned as a patriotic Kenyan whose desire was to deliver a united country through the Constitutional Amendment Bill.
Yusuf Haji has done his bit. He's transferred this country and various careers for very many years, for over 50-60 years. And there's no better gift that he has left behind, but just he has mentored many people, including myself.
One concern, and I'm going to be candid, he had one concern. Obviously, he had issues with some of the things that had been proposed. And the beauty about it is that he never took to platform, but he was engaging leadership. I knew he was talking to Uhuru, I knew he was talking to Raila on matters that he wasn't comfortable about.
The late senator was a career administrator whose service in the country spans more than 50 years in the public service. He first served as a division officer in 1960 before being appointed provincial commissioner in the Rift Valley and Western provinces.
We have lost a father figure, a man who has been in the midst of us for many years, a man we could always fall back on for advice, for wisdom that was required many times in our county and in the country at large.
Was the icon in the Senate. He was the voice of wisdom. He was the one actually giving direction whenever there are issues in the House, and everybody used to respect him in the House. We have lost a great man.
He mentored me, and I looked up to him in many ways. If there's one person that embodies true leadership, is Senator Yusuf Haji.
Haji was the father to Director of Public Prosecutions, Nuruddin Haji.
After a successful 8 years here on earth, it is the final journey for Garissa Senator Yusuf Haji. He has been mourned by many, including President Uhuru Kenyatta, as a selfless leader who gave his all to serve the country and its citizens. Mwangi Maina, TV 47 from Langata Cemetery, Nairobi.
Now, having dedicated close to half of his life to public service, Yusuf Haji rose through the ranks from a district officer to becoming one of Kenya's longest-serving politicians at the age of 80. The second-time senator who chaired the famous BBI task force served under all 4 Kenyan presidents. Musa Salah now takes a look at the life of Yusuf Haji.
Mohammed Yusuf Haji was born on the 23rd of December 1940 in Garissa town. Haji joined Kenya's provincial administration in 1960 as a district officer and rose through the ranks to become one of the country's most powerful provincial commissioners, a post he retired from in 1998. A few years later, in 2002, Haji was nominated to parliament in what will be the beginning of a 2-decade-long career in politics. He returned to parliament in 2007 as an elected member of parliament for Ijara constituency on a Kenya African National Union KANU ticket. He was then appointed as defense cabinet minister in retired President Mwai Kibaki's Grand Coalition government in 2008 to 2012, when he briefly served as Minister of Internal Security and Provincial Affairs before his election to the Senate to represent Garissa County in 2013 and his subsequent re-election in 2017. Haji will be remembered for chairing the Building Bridges Initiative BBI task force that compiled the BBI report that has since developed into the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020. Musa Salah, TV 47.
Moving on, the Great Kishi man and veteran politician Simeon Nyachae was laid to rest in his rural home in Kishi County. National leaders and politicians led by President Uhuru Kenyatta have mourned him as a patriotic leader who served with dignity. Our reporter Josh Onsare attended the function and prepared the following report.
Top leadership led by President Uhuru Kenyatta, his deputy William Ruto, veteran politicians, cabinet secretaries, permanent secretaries, MPs, county leadership and Kenyans made their way to Gusii Stadium to pay their last respects to Gusii veteran politician Mzee Simeon Nyachae. President Kenyatta eulogized Mzee Nyachae as a disciplinarian and a dedicated patriotic leader to be emulated.
The Honorable Mzee Nyachae was a great son of Kenya, whose immeasurable contributions to the nation spanned many decades and inspired millions of Kenyans. In the passing of the Honorable Nyachae, we are all deprived of his leadership, great passion, determination, and energy towards serving our country.
And posthumously, President Kenyatta directed that Gusii Stadium be renamed to Simeon Nyachae Stadium as a recognition for his contribution to society.
As a government, we have considered it fit to rename this stadium the Simeon Nyachae Stadium Kishi.
The deputy president termed Nyachae as a straightforward leader who modeled many modern-day political leaders.
As Mzee Nyachae rests, he speaks to us, and he speaks to us loudly. Looking at his life, he had the option of waiting to share what his father Mzee Nyandusi had. But he chose a different route. That instead of waiting to share what was there, he decided to create more.
While addressing the mourners, BBI proponent and ODM leader Raila Odinga eulogized Mzee Nyachae as a great leader, but didn't miss a chance to popularize the BBI agenda.
Nyachae is somebody who was schooled in the tradition of the British civil service, which basically promotes excellency and correctness in service of the people. Today it's not politics, but I can say BBI. Thank you.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka and ANC's Musalia Mudavadi also remembered Simeon Nyachae as a great and dependable leader.
This man contributed immensely to the well-being of Kenya. May his soul rest in eternal peace. To the Gusii, you gave us a good son. To the Grace and the Nyachae family, you lend us a very good patriotic father and Kenyan citizen.
Can clear from our image the fact that we are here to bury a real patriot, a national leader. May God rest his soul in eternal peace.
Members of his family recalled with nostalgia the fallen father and husband.
The better for me was much longer than for worse. When it became necessary for me to serve him, I had no reservation. I was ready to look after Mzee because over the years he had invested in me, he had loved me so deeply, and for better was so long.
As we lay you to rest today, I want to promise you that I will do my part towards your family remaining as you had built it and as you would like it to remain.
Gusii Council of Elders Chairman Mzee Matundura said Nyachae's ambition for the Kisii community was unity and the fight against corruption.
Parasa letu wachukue yale yote mzee alituambia, tuyatumie, tuyaangalie kwa makini, tuendelee naye, itasaidia jamii ya Wakisii kabisa.
With Simeon Nyachae's book being closed today, the Kisii community will be looking forward to identify a leader who is going to propel and raise the community's voice in the political status nationally. Joash Onsare, TV47, Kisii County.
Thank you, Josh Onsare, for that report, and may Simeon Nyachae and Yusuf Hajis' souls rest in eternal peace. Still in Kisii County, and Deputy Governor Joash Maangi and the South Mugirango MP Silvana Sosoro will spend the night in police cells. The two were arrested today during the funeral of the late Simeon Nyachae in Kisii County. Mudhoni Maina now reports.
It was an unexpected turn of events for Kisii Deputy Governor Joash Mangi and South Mugirango MP Sylvanus Osoro. Like every other political leader in Kisii County, the duo had planned to be at the funeral service for veteran Gusii politician Simeon Nyachai, but that was not to be. South Mugirango MP Sylvanus Osoro was picked by the detectives from the funeral service where President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto, among other dignitaries, were in attendance. Osoro was driven to Keroka police station where he was interrogated over alleged incitement of members of the public to heckle politicians who attended the funeral. The lawmaker recently faced off with Dagoretti North MP Simba Arati at the funeral of Joash Mangi's father in Bomachoge Chache constituency, which was attended by Deputy President William Ruto.
Nothing serious, it's just normal interrogation by the officers. Nimefika tu Matanga, nimeambiwa ninatafutwa, and then I had to leave, in the company of officers. I don't know the reason, but I guess it's normal, politics or normal questioning.
Kisii Deputy Governor Joash Mangi had early in the morning been apprehended at Kisii School while waiting to welcome DP Ruto. Mangi was taken to Kisii Central Police Station but was later driven to Oyugis Police Station where he will spend the night. Both Mangi and Osoro are supporters of Deputy President William Ruto.
The deputy governor is also arrested, I'm told. He told me. Your guess could be as good as mine. Deputy governor is arrested, I am arrested. Omwando is arrested. Your guess is as good as mine. Yes, perhaps my only mistake is supporting William Ruto. That is it.
The detectives remained silent on whether the politicians will be arraigned in court on Tuesday or not. Muthoni Minor, TV 47.
Moving on, Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho has reiterated that he will go for the presidency come 2022. Joho told skeptics who think Mombasa cannot produce a presidential material to watch this space as he is not relenting in his quest. Joho spoke during a bursary checks distribution event in Changamwe. Maria Mwacharo reports.
Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho is determined to succeed Uhuru Kenyatta at State House in 2022. And the second time, Governor says Mombasa is no less in producing presidential candidates.
Mtoto aliozaliwa Mombasa hawezi kuwa rais wa nchi hii. Mombasa ni Kenya, sisi wote ni wa Kenya, na tutapigania hicho kiti cha urais, my friend. Tutapigania hapo hapo. And we will not shy away, my friend. Let me tell you, wale ambaye wanaona hatutafanya, tutafanya. Kama ni kulumbana, tutalumbana humo humo. Kama ni kubanana, tutabanana wapi? Humo humo. Lakini safari hii, mtoto alozaliwa Mombasa, Mkenya halisi kama Mkenya mwingine yoyote, atakuwa katika debe la urais. Wacha wajue hiyo.
Joho also took a swipe at Deputy President William Ruto. He wondered what new agenda DP Ruto has for the youth that this time he couldn't have rolled out since he came into office in 2013. Sentiments echoed by Likoni Member of Parliament Mishi Mboko.
William Ruto has been the Deputy President from 2013. 20. Ndio hoja na Wilbaro, my friend. Tuseme ukweli. Mimi naelewa na mimi nataka niwakumbushe kiongozi yoyote ambaye anakuja kukumbusha wewe ni maskini hana nia nzuri na wewe.
We belong to the school of thought of the handshake. We are promising we will propose the BBI. Wale wengine wakae kule na hatutakubali kuregeshwa katika risala zile za ufisadi, risala za kugawanya Wakenya, risala za kuleta vita. We are going to stand with the gospel of uniting the country called Kenya.
The coastal leaders also threw their weight behind the BBI legislative bill. They say that apart from championing for inclusivity, the BBI bill also promises good prospects for the common man.
Tunaunga mkono BBI kwa sababu BBI imetuletea 35% mashinani. Huduma mashinani, pesa mashinani, mwananchi kwanza. Vile vile imetuambia katika wodi zetu tutapata pesa zaidi ya milioni 20 ambayo itakuwa ni 5% ya kutoka kule juu katika ile pesa yote.
The two were speaking during a bursaries checks distribution exercise in Changamwe.
Thank you, Mariam Wacharo from the coastal capital of Mombasa for that report. You are watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Time for us to take a short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Sasa nina criminal ameniibia kitu kwa nyumba. Funga yetu twende ofisa. Fande bufungua hapa. Simkule ka breakfast kidogo alafu twende. Simshakula evidence. Ati nini? Exhibit mumekula. Nitoripiwa? Sinijia alikuwa ameiba. Tumekula expert.
Selector. The difference is in the taste.
Finca Properties Limited introducing Equator Gardens Phase 2 Nanyuki. A few minutes drive from Nanyuki town near Olpajeta Conservancy. This is a strategic property offering a homely serene environment with nearby schools, hospitals, with a space for children playground and kindergarten. Invest today with a cash offer price of 200,000 for 50 by 100 plot and a discounted price of 350,000 for 100 by 100 plot of land. Legal fees and transfer costs inclusive. This is a gated control development property with water and electricity on site. We offer free site visit every Wednesday and Saturday. Visit our offices in Kitengela Pena Towers first floor. Contact us on 0721 737300 or SMS the word plot to 40309. Title deeds are ready. Finca Properties Limited. Prime and affordable.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
TV47, home of untold stories.
You're watching your channel of choice. Thank you for choosing us. Welcome back. Now, nearly 4 decades ago, residents of Wajir County, specifically men from the Degodia community, were captured and rounded up in Wagala airstrip. It is believed that hundreds of men were held in the scorching sun on the airstrip for days with no food or water. Many died from starvation, while others were shot dead or burnt alive by soldiers of the government of the day. Now, residents fear their story of the bloody massacre could slowly disappear without getting compensation and official apology from the Kenyan government. Esadin Haji has the details.
This is a week that the rest of the world celebrates love. To these people, the week reminds them of the worst phase in their lives. Their loved ones suffered grueling atrocities meted on them by the government nearly 4 decades ago. The 1984 Wagala massacre remains a big dent on the Kenyan government and a permanent wound on the victims. These two women remember vividly the fateful day when hell broke loose and men were picked from villages and had to pay a price of the unknown. Their eyes wet up every moment their lips narrate horrifying scenes and episodes they witnessed decades ago.
Ikisema ikitoka kwa nje tunaona maaskari nasanyana kila bahali. Amafaa uniform ya jeshi. Sisi ikisema ye jamani kitu gani inatendeka, askari hawezi ongea na wewe. nyumba iko na mwanaume, anakumwambia, anakuuliza na mwanaume peke yake. Sasa sisi hatujui kitu gani anatendeka, kitu gani amatoka.
Abdi Bilo occasionally walks into these graveyards. His father was among the men killed in the infamous Wagala when he was just months old in his mother's womb. He lives only to witness the grave of his father with not even an image of him left in this world. He prays for him, hoping that they unite one day in the next life.
Our fathers were killed before we were born. Our mothers were raped while we were in their wombs. They are still maiming. They never healed from the wounds.
Abdi's story resonates with many Wajir residents of the Digodia clan who were orphaned as a result of the atrocities unleashed on their parents on this runway. According to report, hundreds of men were indiscriminately picked and rounded up in this airstrip before they were killed in cold blood. The massacre was a measure by the government of the day to end continuous intercommunal violence that was common in Wajir County. The nightmare of the 36-year-old massacre haunts many to death.
I'm told my grandfather was burnt alive. Imagine somebody fully dressed. You know, you put petrol on them and torture them. That is inhumane as a human being. That is so sad. That even person dying too fast cannot die so fast. That person will take time to die. So the question is, how painful is that? It's actually terrible. It's just so scary. It gives us a nightmare.
The Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission was formed to listen and compile a report of all atrocities by the Kenyan government in the country. The TJRC is part of the accountability component of Agenda 4 of the National Accord signed in 2008, meant to address the effects of historical injustices and gross violation of human rights, and also aim to contribute towards national unity, reconciliation and healing. But 12 years on, after compiling evidence and report from the victims of the Wagala tragedy, no implementation has taken place. The families of the victims now say they request for nothing less than a memorial site to remember their loved ones and reparation from the government. As justice struggled to gain fortitude decades later amidst a gruesome atrocity meted on communities in northeastern Kenya, the history and every painful bit of that dark history is catching up with time, and the realization of justice is slowly slipping into the horizon. To the residents, it seems case closed. Or is it? Resident Haji, TV 47, Wajir County.
Elsewhere, the Ministry of Agriculture has continued to take measures to contain the desert locusts invasion currently being experienced in various counties, and with a total of 121 locust swarms reported to have been contained so far, control bases have been strategically positioned in 8 locations to ease coordination across various affected counties within their prospective regions.
Since Kenya was invaded by the first wave of desert locusts in late December 2019, after a lull of 70 years, a total of 203 locust swarms spread in nearly 28 counties, out of which 121 have been successfully contained. During a virtual meeting with the Senate Standing Committee on Agriculture, the Ministry of Agriculture brought in measures to further curb the spread of the ravenous pests. Control bases have been strategically positioned in 8 spots, including Wajir, Isiolo, Marsabit, Masinga, Garissa, Turkana, Mandera and Lamu to coordinate desert locust management operations that will be managed by the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO together with the national and county governments. However, the move by the Agriculture Ministry to withdraw NYS personnel by May this year after completing 1 year on ground and deployment of only 21 vehicles countrywide mounted with praise for ground operations did not seem to be a satisfactory measure to contain the locust invasion.
9 aircrafts, and I'm hearing actually you have 3 on standby. I'm wondering how you can have 3 aircrafts on standby when these things are just devastating crops and livelihoods all over the country. 21 pickups, they're not even enough for my county, leave alone the country. They're not even enough for my county. So we need a detailed explanation around that issue. If it is necessary that you have to deal with NYS, then I don't know of any other national duty that would be more important for them to undertake than the control of locals. So an extension of their terms and the negotiation of the engagement becomes an obvious thing to do. So there should be no mention of a worry there.
The Ministry of Agriculture, led by CS Peter Munya, may need to grab the bull by its horns in order to see the locust invasion come to an end. Currently, inaccessibility is not only being experienced in areas bordering Kenya and Somalia due to insecurity, but also in protected areas such as the Tsavo National Park. Nanok Lauren, TV 47.
Thank you, Nanok Lauren, for that report. Time for us to get to the world of sports now. Let's bring in sportsman Dennis Otieno. Dennis, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, thank you, Abubakar. Tonight, we have a lot that is lined up for you. We shall be telling you about the revamped upgrading of the Gusii Stadium as directed by President Uhuru Kenyatta. We shall also be telling you, or pretty much giving you, the results registered in match week 24 of the English Premier League. Also, a little bit of rugby action as well as some tennis action. Now, this and more coming up in just a bit. A very warm welcome to Primetime Sports. My name is Dennis Otieno, and on to the top story in sports. Gusii Stadium in Kisii County will be renamed to the Simeon Nyanchai Stadium in honor of the late minister that was laid to rest at his rural home in Nyosia Village, Kisii County. President Uhuru Kenyatta issued the directive while allocating 150 million shillings to renovate the stadium. The head of state further directed the Ministry of Sports to fast-track the construction of the Nyandika Mayoro in honor of the late athletics legend. According to President Kenyatta, the move was necessitated by Nyachai's love for sports, ordering the completion of the projects before the end of the year. Simeon Nyanchai was the patron of Kisii-based Football Kenya Federation FKF second tier Shabana FC in the 90s.
In his memory and in consultation with the leadership of Kisii County,